Let's get ready to rumble.
Back to episode 126 of Rumble. Wow, we've actually got 3 people here tonight. It's me, your host, as always. It's Liam, and joining me again from the depths of wherever the hell he's been, it's the beautiful, the gorgeous, the clean-shaven Mr. Shaun Corrigan. How the devil are we?
I was a bit concerned about who that intro was going to be for, but as soon as you then said clean shaven, it meant it was only coming one way.
He's not seen my pubes yet, so.
I am fantastic, absolutely fantastic.
It's good to see you again.
I'm glad to get back. Aye. However, the clean shaven could have also been directed to another guest.
It also could have been directed to another guest. So, also with us tonight, eagle-eyed viewers, eagle-eyed listeners will have heard a familiar yet unfamiliar voice on the Ramble. We've spent our whole Q1 budget getting him on this evening. It's Tony Anderson. How are we, my friend?
I'm great, mate. Yeah, thanks very much for having me on. I feel like people believe that you give me clothes for free and stuff like that. I feel like that. A couple of people have asked. Oh, do you get that? I was like, absolutely not. not how these things work. It's like similar when people do this on A View from the Terrace, Telfer makes up something about when someone's no on. I had someone in the pub the other day ask me if Joe was okay because he said something about his ribs that he's burdened. But so someone genuinely thought that his missus would be beating him. But there you go.
Oh,
so keep the lies coming.
It's good to see you anyway, Tony.
Joe might genuinely be missing for a while now after the last couple of weeks, but
yeah, we'll find
out. Won't say much more.
It's been a good week to be a Jambo, isn't it? So we've got a couple of bits of news. We've got one bit of news that came out today. That's a Lewis Miller contract extension until the end of next season. Shaun, we were kind of humming and hawing at the start of the year about whether we'd want to keep some of the players that were out of contract in the summer, and Lewis Miller's name was one that cropped up a few times. It's a maybe, but since he's moved to the right-hand side of a 3, it's become a little bit of a no-brainer that we should be getting him tied down to a bit of a longer deal.
Yeah, triggering the extra year on the deal, I think the player, what you alluded to there, you could have probably said that about 80% of the squad when we were having that discussion, and you probably could have had that discussion about 80% of the squad up until October, November time. So he's in a good place. I'm happy to see him in a good place. And like every other player that we seem to have in a good bit of form or playing relatively well, long may it continue. I do like him. He's physically a fantastic specimen to have in the sport of soccer. He just needs to apply the attributes correctly on a more consistent basis. And I hope he does for Hibs.
You were spot on, Liam, about the position change from. It seems that position's properly built for someone like that, because when he plays in the right back role, you end up in tighter spaces all the time, and he's he's not technically bad, but he's also not technically great, as you're saying. It's more of his physicals that have meant that you think Hibs bought him for originally, and probably kind of like traditionally like the Aussie players are really, really fit and they're really athletic. But that centre-half one, it's like his aerial ability is really good, so he's able to defend the back post, but it's not corely like his job all the time. He's going to have more support to do that. And when he bursts forward, it gives us a proper X factor when he's coming forward like that, because there is more room for him to go a bit haywire, something like what he done in the game last week against Dundee, where he just turns up on the left. If you're playing a back 4, you just simply can't do that. The team, the makeup of the team doesn't really allow for it. But with having him in there, it's almost like encouraging him to be slightly more madcap, which I think suits his ability. Although his concentration levels and all of that have improved, and he's been involved in his 6 goals as well. So him and Rocky Bashiri stuff is you always think it is the makeup of a proper good team, where everyone's getting involved in goals and assists. And
absolutely.
Not just like the striker or whatever. So it's just be interesting to see if we've triggered that just to sell him, or have we triggered that in the hope that we can get him to sign on a longer deal?
Yeah, well, I was going to ask you that. I mean, with the way that it's worded, it says, "Oh, we've triggered an extension. We've triggered an extension." And when I read that initially, I'm thinking Hibs have triggered it, but does Lewis Miller really even want it? I was kind of like second guessing myself, and then there was a couple of bits flying about saying, "Oh, we've triggered an extension, but he probably deserves a new, longer deal with probably better compensation." But like you said, Tony, I don't know if it's maybe just kind of covering our own back at the moment, at least for the summer, and then we can kind of reassess it after that.
Yeah, it's almost like we need to make sure that we don't just lose the guy that we've obviously had to work really hard on, and we've had to to turn him into sort of the player that he's turned into over the last 2 or 3 months, and it would be absolutely classic, really, if you do work of that time, and then he plays good towards the end of his time, and then he suddenly gets a much better move, and you're ending up with fuck all back for it. Similar like what could be happening with Rocky Bashiri over this year. So yeah, we had to do that, but I'll be really interested to see what we want to do. But they probably don't want to be spending too much time right now. We're in the absolute mixer. We're in, it's the business end of the season, and I know that it's normally just agents or whatever that are dealing with these conversations, blah, blah, blah. But still, I can see why you would just be like, let's just get it triggered. Then we'll have a proper discussion about all this in the summer, and then we can take it from there. Because we've got a lot of football still to play.
No, we do. I mean, there's Martin Boyle out of contract, Rocky Bushiri, like you touched on there, Tony. Shaun, I don't know if this is right, so I'm leaning on you to correct me, but do we have a trigger extension for Martin Boyle as well?
I don't know what the trigger is, so Tony actually might be better. I thought you were going to say Rocky Bashiri, to which my answer would have been no, or we probably would have accidentally triggered that again.
Accidentally, on purpose, by mistake.
As far as I'm aware, that there is a trigger for Martin Boyles, but again, there would be that discussion about. I think there'll be a bit about Hibs obviously waiting to see what the budget is. We did lose a 7 million, right? I mean, it was a lot of money that we were under, but we're in a position now where we could bring in a lot of cash through the European stages, and the budget and the amount of players we'll buy will be wildly different depending on, and like you're saying about what the players want. I'd imagine Boyle would probably want to hang around for a crack at the group stages. Boyle strikes me as a guy who when you get to start 32, you are starting to tick off, especially a guy who maybe started late in terms of getting to the level that he is. He'd be wanting to tick off. Like, he never got to play in that World Cup, so he's got another chance that he might still be able to do that next year. So he'd be wanting to make sure he's playing wherever he is. You want to make sure he's on form. And if he's never got the chance to really properly play in a European competition for Hibs, like in the group stages. So again, I think there might be. We don't know how much Martin Boyle is on at Hibs, but I mean, it wouldn't surprise anyone if it is like 10 grand. You know what I mean? He was coming back. It was coming back for Saudi Arabia. He didn't come back for fucking buttons. Of course he would have, because he was on stupid money there. So we have to wait. So there might just be a wait and see with Boyle about triggering that. Lewis Miller's going to be one of the lowest paid players in that team. He's a 22-year-old coming for Australia. He hadn't really hit any sort of levels where he'd be able to dictate and things to get for a European team. So that one's a lot easier.
It's a different kettle of fish, really, isn't it?
It's just a different one, that what they want to do with Martin Boyle and what they want him to bring his down. Or maybe they might just want to say, let's wait, and then why don't we agree to do a 2-year deal where you take a pay cut, but you get 2 years of this higher money that you won't get elsewhere. Yeah. So it'll be really interesting. But again, it's like we've released sort of Martin Boyle with that shape change, like everyone else, and giving him that free roll up front. Be interested to see what would happen if, say, we wanted to go back to a back four. Would we lose the Martin Boyle we've got now?
Don't want to do that, please.
If we started playing him as like a right winger again, like, it really seemed to reinvigorate him. So who knows? It might be based on whatever the actual plans are and what Gray wants to do next season. So I think that one's probably really complicated.
All hanging in the balance, I suppose. But time will tell, guys. Time will tell. Anyway, apart from that, there's not really been an awful lot of news coming out of Hibs, especially this weekend. We had a Hibsless weekend. How did you spend it?
In a Hibs pub watching Hearts.
I'm glad you said that. I was going to say the exact same thing. With a grinning smile from ear to ear.
You know what, right?
The only way to describe it.
See, when the game kicked off, I thought to myself, wouldn't it be brilliant if they got all the way to penalties and then they lost on penalties? But I think that the way that the game went and the way that they've reacted afterwards, especially Neil Critchley talking about we deserve to get to penalties. The fact that they get scored, they conceded a goal with minutes to go in extra time. I'm fucking fumbling all over my words here. Is poetic, absolutely poetic.
Couldn't have been.
See, as the game started, I was thinking, wouldn't it be so Hibs of Hearts to go and nab our third, like our European spot? We finished third, and then they go and nab it by winning the whole fucking damn thing.
Aberdeen will do it.
But what made it even better is fucking Jamie McGrath set up the winner and put 9-man Hearts out at Hampden. It's normally Hibs getting men sent off at Hampden.
Have you seen the picture of Jamie McGrath giving Cammy Devlin a wee slap and he does, he gets sent off?
I love that because on the pitch, I bet he's only doing that and not to be like a cocky bastard. But the minute you put that in a still frame and show it to a Hibs fan, that's all you can think when you see it. Like, it definitely won't be what he was trying to portray, but it just looks absolutely.
Someone
perfect.
put in the group chat and I was like, "Oh my god, I love him already," because I keep forgetting. I keep forgetting that we've signed him.
Well, he's got a game against us for his first one. It'll be interesting to see.
He'll probably score an own goal or something
if they play him. It was good with the Hearts one. It was good because like the Aberdeen were also shit. So it was good, from the context of it was kind of if I was choosing how I wanted that game to go, knowing that we were playing Aberdeen on Saturday, I think that's exactly how I would have picked it.
It was
all to go because
awful game of football, an
really
awful game of soccer. The second shot on target came in extra time.
That's embarrassing. That is absolutely embarrassing.
Terrible. There wasn't a shot on target for the whole second half.
Even the one team. So that's the other funny thing for the Hearts point of view is that Critchley Critchley gets blamed a lot for, and people laughed at his substitutions when he took off the two strikers at half time. It nearly paid off. So it's like Critchley's maybe after being criticised for a lot of decision making, maybe got it right, but still doesn't get it right. It still get taken away from him. So that also fucks him up. So like as I said, when you're starting, when you look right every narrative,
another big game that he's not won, which is even better. And the fact that Hearts have come out thanking the fans for going to Hampden, and you've seen like people being like, "Well, that's the season over." Well, boys, he's only 6 points off the bottom of the table, so
it could be interesting.
Off 11th.
He's sorry, 11th. He's only very great when it's after the split. So let's not count your chickens yet, because
got big Simon Murray turning up at Tynecastle.
Mate, how funny would that be? Because there's still a possibility. The league is still so tight. Like in the top six and the bottom six, it's crazy. It's been a mental season. Like really has
been one of the most memorable seasons. I'm not just saying that because of Hibs. I think there's just been a lot of
it's been such a good season. Like even like you look at Dundee, like Simon Murray's been incredible. Sam Dalby at United's been fantastic. And then obviously Dyson Maida with Kyogo leaving and stuff. It's been a crazy season, I think.
And there's loads of form swings. Like and really, really long winning and defeated. Not just even Hibs and Aberdeen, who are the poster boys for it. But I mean, like across the league, there's loads of like 8 games. There's loads of them where there's like huge swings in the form. Just makes you look like an idiot when you try and analyse it, which is good fun, which is more fun.
And like you look across Europe, and I don't pay an awful lot of attention to lots of different leagues, but I keep a like half an eye on the Premier League and stuff, and it just feels like it's all kind of saturated, and like our league is the last real league. The Scottish leagues are the last real leagues of football in the world. But I don't know. It's been a good season, but
it certainly has.
We're going to have a quick wee look back on it with yourself, Shaun. But before we do that, let's kick tonight off with some listener questions.
Now it's time to answer the Hibs Ramble listener questions.
Okay, first off, John McIntosh as always. He's asking you, what is for dinner, Shaun? I'll come to you first, since you've not told me a prawn linguine with chorizo and bacon for about fucking 10 weeks. So I'm buzzing to hear what you've got.
I'll keep it short and sweet. It's a rosemary beef ragu.
Lovely.
With
like it's not enough.
no, but like
No garlic
with,
bread. There's no. I mean, there's
No.
spinach through it if you want to include that, but
no, like what's the carb? Rice,
Beef. Oh, right, sorry.
pasta.
pasta. Aye, sorry, I just assumed
What
that you
kind
would have
of
assumed it was
pasta?
pasta. Sorry.
Gee, fucking hell, man.
What kind of pasta? I want to know.
Rigatoni.
Rigatoni, that's a big boy pasta, you know. That's a big boy pasta, you know. Tony, what you having?
A sort of Thai red curry with beef and some sweet potato.
What Thai
made-
curry with beef?
Yeah, with because I got some reduced last week and I put it in the freezer. The small bits of beef, like the chop bit. So I took that out, but I made the paste from scratch.
Oh,
So I
lovely.
put it all in. So it should be nice if I've not overdone it with make too much and make it overly spicy. But we'll see. And that's just with rice before you press me.
No
It
chips.
wasn't obvious. It was already going to be with rice.
I don't know. I've never fucking heard ragu before. John, I'll tell you what I'm having.
Do you know what? Right, I think you shouldn't tell us what you're having, because I'm pretty sure that 90% of our listeners could probably guess what you're having, and we should leave it up to them to try and correctly guess what you have had.
Right, okay, well, they can guess, but can I tell you what it was meant to be instead? Like how I told you earlier.
You're hosting, mate. You're hosting.
So John, and this will actually lead me on to my next question, my follow-up question. I had a text from Megan today when I was at work, and she says, "You want mince and tatties for dinner?" And I tell you what, I fucking love mince and tatties. I really, really do. It's one of my favourite meals on planet Earth. And I went, "You're fucking right. I want mince and tatties, Megan." So I get home in my mince and tatties mood, putting the kids to bed, and I'm putting the wee man to bed, and she texts my phone and she's like, "What are you wanting for Domino's?" Oh fuck, I've just given it away. I got a Domino's. She went, "What are you wanting from Domino's?" And I went, "Oh, I'll have this and this." I was like, "What about mince and tatties?" She went, "I didn't realise," because she got a shopping online today, that the packet of mince was about yay big. About the width, probably like the width of my face. And maybe the size of my forehead. Maybe a little bit bigger. Not enough. Not enough for a growing laddie. Not enough for a growing laddie. But it then led me on to say that before we started recording, I'd say I think that mince and tatties is my death row meal. So I want to know what your
Honestly,
death row meal is.
I find that the most boring thing I've ever heard in my life. You're about to be put to death, and you have what people had in the fucking 40s to keep themselves alive during rationing.
Mince and tatties, right? Mince and tatties with some peas,
Fuck me.
right?
It
and
gets worse. It's getting worse.
and a whole loaf of heavily buttered tiger bread. Right,
Yeah,
with,
that makes me want to be
with like
put
a
on
glass
death row.
bottle of red cola or iron brew or something as my drink.
Oh, I've not had a glass bottle of red cola in a long
I was talking
time.
about red cola at my work today, and there was people that aren't from Scotland, and I was trying to tell them about red cola, and they were like, "What the fuck's that?" And I was like, "I can't explain it."
It's like iron brew. These are unexplainable drinks that we've
Exactly.
somehow created. Because basically we refuse to use fruit even when it comes to our drinks. You know, it's always orange or lemon. That's what everyone else has done. No. We figured out this completely fucking weird shit that you can drink now.
Orange
Like,
rust flavored juice.
yeah. Fucking play turns your ribs into whatever. Aye. Fucking hell.
Death row meal though, Tony. I'll come to you first since you slandered mine so badly.
Be one of those. I think I would want to have. You'd have to make it. You'd be a taster menu. You'd be getting there. I'd be wanting a 10-courser.
Oh no, but I mean, if you can only, I'll give you 3 courses. Give you 3 courses.
Okay, I'd maybe have scallops and black pudding as a starter.
Mm-hmm.
I think, as much as I'd like to sound more cultured, if I'm being brutally honest, I
Mince and
probably
ties.
would want a pizza. I really do think I would, if I was never eating it again, some pizza and probably some, like, breaded chicken wings. It's probably really, if I'm being brutally honest, that is probably what I would demand with, if the gun is quite literally to my head. And then a dessert, you'd probably just get, like, the biggest fucking sundae possible.
I love Sundays, man. Sundays are completely underrated.
So I didn't like, because I always think I quite like being adventurous with food, but like dessert, I'm very rudimental. I just want chocolate, caramel, and cream. Don't get your meringues to fuck. Then he stop putting fruit down there.
Exactly.
Nope. And lemon sorbets, yes, they are nice when you try them, but I'm always thinking maybe I'd still prefer there to be.
Who's ordering that?
Yeah, where's the profiteroles?
Come on.
So that's probably what I would, if I was being brutally honest, what I'd go for.
Shaun, this will be entertaining.
I would have a half and half starter from the Caprice and Musselburgh of, and I'm technically cheating here, chicken and ham would be my half pizza, and my pasta half
For your
would be
starter?
chicken carbonara. For my starter, I'm technically cheating
No,
here.
that's not a starter.
My main would be focus Chinese again from Musselburgh, which will be salt and chili chicken, shredded chicken, salt and chili chips, and sweet and sour sauce and rice. And my dessert would be an Aunt Betsy's apple crumble with Devon custard. There you go.
You're spotted as well. The salt and chili stuff is
I do like an apple crumble.
all the other like types of cuisine you get. Like I always like to get like proper traditional stuff. But see when you go
Can't
to
be a
like
Scottish Chinese man.
But like Chinese, it's like I'm totally all my rules just go out the window, and it is just it's basically I'm hungover and I want there to be really salty shit everywhere, and it is just buying things that have absolutely zero to do with China with salt and chili on them. That's it's like everything I'm going to buy.
I seen a TikTok.
So goddamn good.
I know. I seen a TikTok right yesterday or the day. I can't mind. And it was a guy. It was a guy who was like being deadly serious, going around Edinburgh, like reviewing Chineses and stuff. And but this is like a deadly serious, like a proper foodie TikToker.
Right, okay.
And he's like, "Oh, I got this box," and he took it back. And it was like a salt and chili box or something. And he's eating these chicken balls and chips with chopsticks. I couldn't fucking believe my eyes.
Is he not trying to be ironic or something like that?
I don't think so. He had one of the voices. He sounded like an Angus.
He had an accent.
Sounded like a Fergus. That sounds to me, Shaun, like a very hearty meal. But honestly, if there's one guy that I can back to eat all that, it's probably you. You got to back yourself,
100%.
man.
I reckon I could have two each. Easy.
Fucking
Especially
hell,
if you know
man.
you're going to die. You don't have to worry about the next day, do you? Like nobody will get out of your bed from work or that. It's just like...
Or maybe you just like fucking load your plate up and just delay it. Keep delaying.
That's what I thought Tony was wanting the 10 courser for.
Yeah, just fuck. Get about to get killed, you've got fucking stinking heartburn. You can barely...
Oh, fucking just pull the trigger, man. Seriously.
Get doing it yourself. Like that. Fuck this.
Any
Dying
Gaviscon?
of heartburn. The first man to die of heartburn. There we
Where
go.
you're going, you don't need Gaviscon. Right, I actually asked the Ramblers to send us questions that weren't about Hibs since we had a Hibs-less weekend, and we'll be waxing lyrical about Hibs' first portion of the season up until now in the latter stages of the podcast. So some of the Ramblers have obliged. Billy asks, and I don't know, Tony, if you're into the wrestling or not, but he asks, do you believe in Joe Hendry?
I don't know this era of wrestling. I was hoping for more Mark Hendry rather than Joe Hendry there. So
He's a
I was
Jambo
thinking
Tony,
more.
so just say no and be done with it.
I was
okay,
thinking
no.
more Colin Hendry than Joe Hendry, but I don't
So
know.
is Joe
who.
Hendry a wrestler who supports Hearts?
Apparently,
Like a genuine
Aye,
WWE wrestler?
yeah. He
Aye,
was
so-
fighting at WrestleMania on Sunday. Mark was there. Mark
Wow.
from the Ramble was at WrestleMania, and he sent us a picture, and I went,
At least
I do
someone's
not know
achieving
who that
something
is.
for that neck of the woods.
Aye. Good on him. Good on
What,
him.
so he's Scottish, yeah?
Aye, Scottish. I think he's from Edinburgh.
I grew up last week. Surely. You're no supporting Hearts if you're from anywhere else. Surely fucking Christ. I bet he's got 10. What does he come in the ring in? Like a cardigan.
A poppy tin under his arm.
Yeah.
That's what he gets from underneath the ring. That's his weapon. TLC.
Yeah.
Tables, ladders, poppy tins. Next up,
The finishing move to charity end.
Oh my God, that's the cash cow. Hibernian Lone Watch is asking best and worst beers on tap when you walk into a pub. Shaun, I know you don't drink, so I'll let you do best and worst juices.
Like, you can't even see them behind the bar. What's on the gun?
I'll take a pass on that question as long as it's in a can and not draft.
Tony, three best.
Do you not like Spanish? Do you not like draft juice?
I love draft juice, man.
Aye, that's my absolute favourite. Like, especially if you've been hungover and
Draft
you're trying
Coke.
to get involved in day 2. Tank a draft Coke.
Aye, I love it, man.
Back on the pipes. It's so good. I quite like my Cruz Campo. It's, even though I think it's fucking bad for you because it does taste different from all the other beers. I'm thinking this must be filled to the fucking gunnels with sugar. If it's this nice. Like there must be a reason for it tasting like that. And then obviously just the classic one. Nobody likes Carlin, do they? Really?
No.
So,
Not up here
that's
anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, get me.
I think the best for me, I don't know, I can't decide between a lager and a Guinness. But I love a Guinness, man. I'm going to go
Terrace.
Guinness is the best.
I do like Terrace.
I
Very
love
easy to
Terrace,
drink.
man.
Very inoffensive. As long as it's ice cold. Like a can of Terrace is shit.
A can of
But
Terrace
like
is
a-
offensive.
But like a pint of Terrace ice cold is brilliant. And it's only 4%. So it is borderline a sessional beer.
It's a session lager. Yeah, best Guinness, worst Foster's. I'd drink a Carlin over a Foster's, you know.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Foster's is... It just doesn't have...
Or Carlsberg.
Beck's
Sorry,
isn't
mix you
great either.
Patalainen. But Carlsberg, yeah.
Beck's isn't... Yeah, it's like they know that they're taking the piss when they say probably the best lager in
Yeah.
the world.
Probably know the best lager in the world.
Yeah.
Probably not. Next up, Gav Dick says, what are your favourite holiday destinations?
My favourite place, I think, I lived in New Zealand for a year and I absolutely loved that.
I'm here.
And I was lucky enough to be able to travel right round it for a year, so I properly loved that. I spent a lot of time in Vietnam. I've probably spent about 4 months overall in Vietnam, so that's a hugely favourite place of mine. Vietnam's just a country where the way it's designed, you can get anything you want in it. So like you can get like a beach holiday, you can go trekking.
Suspicious.
You can go on a you can go trekking up in the hills if you go right up the north. They've obviously got islands. They've got absolutely fucking wild cities. So I love the time in Vietnam because as I said, you can just dip in and out of whatever you fancy in there. And obviously, I've not been, but I really fucking fancy. I wouldn't mind doing I'd like to go like Bilbao and stuff in Spain. I tried to, but COVID stopped me being able to go. I wouldn't mind being able to do like Cordoba and all that, and going. I've been to a few real Spanish cities, where they're not touristy, and it's absolutely class. Like the really tight areas that you go into. And Italy, I went for my honeymoon. I travelled in that for like nearly 3 weeks, and it was fucking. It's so good.
You did a bit of Italy, didn't you, Shaun?
Yeah, I've been to Milan twice, Bologna, Venice, Bari, Rome. I think I've been to 5 or 6 cities in Italy.
Naples is good.
Definitely up there. One of my favourite holiday destinations is actually Lapland in Finland.
Cool.
So that was by far one of the best holidays I've had. Obviously, Liam, I'll say it now before you make the joke. Obviously, Japan. So hopefully going back there next year.
Where about in Japan did you go?
Tokyo. So I was only in Tokyo the first time. So next year plan is to do a wee bit more.
I really fancy
Over it,
Japan. That's
that-
something I really
the
have
rest
my
of the
heart set
country.
on. Like,
I'd quite like
it's
to go.
It's a different world. So that
because
goes
it's like a really traditional country, but then also like it's outside looking in, properly like futuristic as well. So it's like it's like really historical, and obviously like their culture surely like respect and stuff like that. And I love the way it looks in a place like Japan, where they've got like the hole in the wall bars and stuff like that, where there's only like 3 people standing at them, and you're basically just standing there. It's like it's just like right, you can just walk off. Like the same like when you go to other countries, but it's much more like that, where you can just sort of dart about
Aye.
from place to place, all in the same
Mate, they're
street.
so
You didn't even
far-
know where
they're
you
so
really
far
are.
ahead.
Aye,
So
and
far
like
ahead.
here, like it's so like structured and everything's like a nightmare to do anything.
Aye,
Like to go and have
wait
fun.
now while I go to the bar for an hour and wait for a flat pint. Aye, no
Aye,
bother.
aye,
Or a
aye.
can of Coke for you, Sean.
Exactly. a flat draft Coke.
For me, I think my favourite one was New York. I liked going to New York. That was a good laugh.
Brilliant, man.
But me and Megan, we're going to Marrakesh in a few weeks. I'm looking forward
Class.
to that.
It's really good.
It looks.
Have you ever been to Africa before?
I've never been to Africa. I've only ever been to Europe and America.
Mm-hmm. It's really good, man. I thought it was great. I went about 2 or 3 years ago, and it feels proper safe. You go to Marrakesh, obviously, if you're in behind the wall where you stay with all the riads and that, it's brilliant. You get a wee pool and that. But you can go if you do fancy a pint of that. You can just go away. I went to the Muzud waterfall. It's 2 hours away. Try that.
We're staying in a. We're going for, I think it's like 4 days or something. We're staying in an all inclusive that's a little bit further out of the city, so it's we're able to go in and out as we please, because it does seem a bit mental and hectic in the middle of it, but it looks amazing.
When you go into the markets, man, it's off the chart.
Buzzing, man.
It's like an assault on the senses. The best thing about Marrakesh is like the closest in terms of like price, and like it's only about a 4 and a bit hour flight. I feel like it's the closest and easiest way to get that huge shift in culture where it doesn't, because normally anywhere else where you want to do that, it costs like $1,000 to get there, or it's like a 6 hour flight, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But Marrakesh is it feels like it's well accessible to get that sort of like, wow, I am in a completely different fucking world.
Yeah,
this is
I'm buzzing, man.
And that's good.
I'm buzzing.
That's good. It was really good.
Can't wait for
really
it. Kind of half following on from that, my dad, Colin McLennan, who's in Spain right now, is asked, what's your favourite Spanish football team? I'll start.
Definitely not Real Madrid anyway.
I'll start. I like a couple. I like Rayo Vallecano because I like their strip. This is nothing to do with players. And I like Valladolid as well, because I did a career mode with them on last year's FIFA and I really enjoyed it. And I got them really good.
I suppose quite like, you always think of like Espanyol or something like that, because they've got the cool Catalan things without being the bigger club. I suppose that's, you always warm to those clubs if you basically don't support a old firm team. Like when I meet people and they're Hibs or Hearts fans, and they tell me like they're a fucking Man U fan in England or something, it always blows my mind. Like you're conditioned to hate the fact that the big establishment club. I find it hard to believe how you can jump into it. But so Sevilla or something like that.
Sevilla.
Good laugh.
Sean, just anyone but Real Madrid for you?
Anyone but Real Madrid, aye. I, growing up, had a huge soft spot for Valencia, but that was more because of David Villa at the time.
That team in general.
And then it was Atletico Madrid before they became Simeone's Atletico Madrid, like when they had
Spider-Man on their
Fernando
strips
Torres and stuff like that. Aye. But now it was then obviously Barcelona for the wee felly that's not too bad at football.
Aye.
But now it's just anybody, but now it's just anyone but Madrid.
Fair dues.
Bilbao's cool as well. Their whole sort of culture and the way that they still do that always seems hard to believe that a team's still managed to do that type of
2025,
behaviour.
you know what I mean?
Aye, like, and the fact that they still do it. And
Rangers tried to do that, but maybe not with players from a certain area, but players that fitted a certain criteria, and that didn't work very well for them.
I know, imagine that happening over here, like Rangers and Celtic only having like folk for Glasgow or folk who lent a certain way in their political and religious allegiances. Okay, we'll move away from that.
I'm definitely not getting
Move
involved.
away from that banana skin of a
No
topic.
comment.
Next up, we've got Disco 76, and I know that we said no questions about Hibs, but he says are 2 wins enough to secure 3rd place in Europe?
Definitely.
Do you think? We'll talk more about
If we win the first 2 games, it's done.
Well, I hope so.
In my opinion.
Right, in the next few, I'm going to get quick fire questions so we can move on to your bit, Shaun, because I know you're itching. I know you're itching for it. Jim says, favourite role on Football Manager?
Football role.
Role on Football Manager.
As in the position that we can apply to players, because the only role you get is a manager.
As a manager.
Manager, yeah. I normally play football groundsman. That's what I'm into.
I play Football Manager to be the head scout.
Yeah. Like, what's his name? Steve Marcelo. What was his guy like driving up to England with Terry Butcher?
Is he not dead now, Marcella?
What? Is he?
I don't know. I thought... I'll look this up. Shaun, you tell us your favourite.
I'm going to have to go with inside forward. If this is the way that I'm interpreting the question, because surely it can't mean anything else. However, I have always wanted Football Manager to interpret being able to play different roles, as in like be a coach or be an assistant manager or be a scout. But I don't really know how that would work. It seems a bit too techy. But inside forward, I feel like whenever I have a good Football Manager save, it's always because I've got an absolute banging left-sided inside forward who bangs me about 30 goals and 18 assists in 25 games.
I think he's still alive.
Yeah.
I think so.
I've just googled him, and apparently he's
in the Philippines
he's
or
leading the
something.
revolution. He's leading the revolution in Himalayan football. So
Imagine the pitches there, man. They'll be shocking.
I think Trequista would be my favoured position, because I didn't know what it was until I played Football Manager, and then I signed Nuno Gomez for Hibs on a free at the start of one of the games, and played him in that role when he was 36, and he was brilliant. So I was sold on that position.
I have no clue. Ball playing defender. I'll take that. That's what I'll do, because I don't really play an awful lot of Football Manager, and when I do,
a long time.
I'm like, it's a bit much. I just want to have fun. Don't want to be doing spreadsheets.
I think
and that.
I've not played it for a long time, but I think there is ways of just going into the game and you can shave it down to be the old, basically the old way of playing it when you're not a fucking wank and you just enjoy it.
Yeah, I had it on the I had it on the iPad for a wee while, not that long ago, and it was kind of like that. And then I was getting Hibs to like Champions League finals and that, and I was like, this is just like, surely there's something that is a bit easier about this than this, like the normal game, because
my mate, we played. I like used to when I was younger. You'd play, when you all play it at the same time against each other, and he just completely forgot about pre-season and never trained any of his players. So then when the season started, they were all always after about 30 minutes. They were all doing it like 52%.
Next up,
Train.
Sorry, Tony. Sorry. Just next up, we've got Stephen Bell, and he says, "Who's more dislikable, Joey Barton or Cammy Devlin?"
Joey Barton.
Did he not just kick his wife in the head? I think I can put my allegiances aside to say, if you're an accused wife beater to the point of you're kicking them in the head, I can't remember, but so just to cover my back, I'm going to say the word allegedly here, even though I'm pretty sure he has been like charged and found guilty for this, but I am just to cover my back. Rather than Cammy Devlin because he runs around and kicks people on a football pitch. I think he can.
I think I'll go Joey Barton, because there's no allegedly about this. He's a prick.
Aye, definitely.
So have that, Joey. Come and fight me in a charity boxing match if you want. I seen he was calling out loads of different YouTubers and that. The guy's an absolute fucking loser. And then Stephen Bell also asks, pants or boxers?
Boxers.
I'm a boxer man. I'm a boxer man, can't I lie? And finally, Christopher Black asks, kind of Hibs related, kind of not. Where would Adam Ida be if he was our striker? First choice or fourth or fifth choice? Can what I'd do? I'd be getting him to fucking clean the seats on the bench, man. The guy's a fucking loser. He's awful.
I'd be getting him to watch videos of Kieran Bowie, that's for sure. Because he's not getting in front
He's
of
so
Kieran
bad.
Bowie.
I said this.
Can I be making him watch videos of fucking Kukurevich?
Be getting him to watch videos of Gordon Ramsay and they can go and be the chef at HTC. He's honestly, I've said this before on the pod, he's the worst £10 million signing I think any side ever has ever made. He's fucking awful. He's really, really bad.
Could be worse. Could be Arna Engels where they spent 11 million.
I think he's a bit better. Marginally.
Engels will come good.
Aye, I don't think he'd will.
Welcome to the Green Brigade.
Moving on from that swiftly.
Yeah.
Shaun, I believe you would like to take over and talk about the season up till now and kind of get us back on track.
Yes, it's only taken us 40 minutes to talk about Hibs related content. But however,
we talked about Lewis Miller at the start. So,
aye, fair. I've obviously not been on for quite some time, and I still can't quite believe that we are in the position that we're in. Obviously, Tony, we have joked both in person and when you've been on the episodes about actually you coming on when we've been doing okay. But I don't think we would have ever imagined that we would be doing this okay. So I kind of just wanted to briefly talk about some of the key moments, goals, games, things that we've maybe enjoyed. Because I was listening to the radio last weekend and they always go on about Rocky Bashiri's goal at Aberdeen. And yes, that's obviously the catalyst and the change of shape. And I feel like, yes, that is the case. But it's kind of a broken record now because everyone keeps referring to that. So it would actually be quite good to maybe get your guys' viewpoints on other key points that have maybe continued the run, key moments that have maybe went under the radar, as well as just moments that you've enjoyed so far. So we'll go through that. We'll talk about some of the key moments very fluidly. I'll get a favourite goal off you as a favourite game, and we'll just kind of go for there. So obviously, Tony, I'll kick off with yourself because Liam, you've shared your views on it kind of in recent episodes as well. See, for you, Tony, obviously, I mean, you can maybe start with the Rocky Bashiri goal if you want, although I've just kind of slated it. But
No, I think we can move on from that.
See this run that we've been on. What for you have been the key factors in allowing it to continue in the way that it has?
I think I honestly think the key moment was that Dwight Gale goal against Ross County right before half time because we were shit, and it was like you felt like we'd had a few wins. We'd had the draw, we'd beat Motherwell, and then obviously like what happens to clubs all the time in Scottish football is when you try to build a bit of momentum, suddenly you have to turn up at Parkhead. You know, this happens a lot to teams when they're trying to do that, and then maybe you play hard. Celtic and Rangers win 3 games, then suddenly your 4-game undefeated run turns into you've only won 1 in 5 or something. That happens all the time. And that Ross County game, I was like, oh fucking hell, this is exactly what's happened here. Got excited, hoping for something good to happen, and then that we were seconds away from being booed off that park relentlessly. And then Dwight Gale popped that goal in. But in terms of the main factors, like I've been speaking about this everywhere about like it's just so much leads back to David Gray, and it seems incredible that this is a guy in his rookie season as a manager. Like the way he kept all the players on side and never chucked anyone under the bus. I think that's had such a major impact because it's meant every time he's had to go to the well to make a replacement either for an injury or whatever, he's no having to turn into someone that he's told to go and train fucking elsewhere or anything like that, or he's been a bit sketchy with on the media when things were going badly for him. And now he's managed to, so like guys that have come out of the FA, guys like Mariah Welsh, even Warren O'Hara, he was able to bring him in. He played like a big chunk. Lewis Miller and there, Jordan Smith. Like, I mean, he was like the most like backup goalkeeper to ever back up. It seemed like for Jordan Smith when he was brought in. It was like when they say you quality over quantity, I really don't know. It sounded more like to me someone has to fill this role, and they went and got him. So him be able to do that, and then over time, his flexibility as a manager, and we're not always play the same. Like, remember we beat Aberdeen 2-0 at Easter Road? I really thought that was a really interesting look at David Gray, because we played long ball that game. Very obviously going direct, try and get him behind Boyle, try to make Rubizic make mistakes again like he did at Pataudry. And we also allowed them to have the ball, which is something Hibs managers have never really done at Easter Road. They've never really been brave enough to be willing to go into that, because they're managing one of the biggest clubs in Scottish football. And it's just not the done thing. And it's like, because of who he is, possibly, felt like he could do that. And he got that absolutely spot on against Aberdeen that day. We won 2-0. They barely got near us. And we played basically long ball, direct football, looking for mistakes. And I think these were like, right, okay, we've got a manager. After a long line of managers who wanted to have philosophies, we finally moved into a manager who wants to be flexible. And what's really exciting about right now is that the Dundee game right there, we seem to be peaking now, rather than like coming to the end of the run. Seem to be getting better. And since he brought Levitt in, and that's turned the team into our ability to switch the ball and play nice football, and have Triantis and Levitt both able to do that really quickly to really, really high wing backs. We get the ball shifted from one side to the other and pull defences apart, honestly, in like 2 passes now, because the 2 guys in the midfield are both really up for doing it, and they both do it really, really naturally and quickly. And that makes you so difficult to play against. And that's before you even start going into playing your bloody dropping your mate, Martin Boyle, which must have been a really hard thing to do. I know the dynamic must be hard. They were probably massive pals. They played together for years, won stuff together, and to be brave enough to do that and then create a new position for him like that, the way he managed to get Eliuan from fighting a fan at the side of the pitch to playing with a corner flag within like 2 weeks. These are like amazing moments, and it all leads back to the manager making brilliant decisions, brilliant tactical decisions, and his man management's been unbelievably good. And I'm getting to the stage where, and I'm always trying to be careful, because it's like, Naismith done relatively similar thing last season at Hearts when they won 14 games in the trot or anything. But I always felt that was kind of built on sand, and because they had a striker playing at his life. But I'm really getting to that stage where with Gray, that unlike maybe Naismith and Robson, who had really, really good stints for periods at their clubs, they've become like that. David Gray might actually not just be a Hibs legend, might actually go on and have like a really, really good managerial career just in general.
Hopefully at Hibs.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Yeah, completely agree.
I felt like standing up and applauding that there, Tony.
Well,
No, that's kind.
is that you mentioned the Robson side, you mentioned the Naismith side. Both those sides had key individuals, especially the Hearts side, getting them through those moments. Whereas, as you alluded to earlier on when you talk about Lewis Miller, we're getting a whole host of players stepping up to the plate. And you're right with what you're saying about David Gray. Liam, where have you seen other key factors in our season throughout this unbeaten run?
I think for me, it's also kind of everything that Tony said, basically, and then like I just see the togetherness of the team that's so important. They're all fighting for each other, like you said, Tony, and they just didn't ken when they're beat. Like, we can go behind in games, and at the start of the season, we might be like, oh, fucking hell, that's us 1-0 down. They're going to pump us now. But the feeling now is, like, if we go 1-0 down, if we concede a goal at all, that it's all right, it's fine. There's still plenty of time to come back into this. And, you know, the Aberdeen game at Pataudry, I think, was a really, really good example of that, where it all could have just kind of, because we were only maybe 3 or 4 games maybe into the run at that point, and it all could have kind of imploded a little bit because we were still 11th and they were 3rd, and it could have came falling back in on us a little bit, but we didn't let it. I think then that's the game for me that we started to kind of kick on and flex our muscles a little bit and think, you know what, if we can in 11th beat them who are 3rd, who have been flying, and admittedly, Aberdeen were on a little bit of a poorer run at that point, but they still went 1-0 up at Pataudry, where we've not had a great... I mean, in recent years, it's been better, but historically, we've not been fantastic at Pataudry. And So I think that was a real important moment for our season to kick on. And then obviously you touched on Ewan with the corner flag at the end. But I think we can talk about that and how funny it was and stuff. But in terms of then building the connection back from players to fans, stuff like that's so important. And I think that kind of Ellie Ewan was maybe losing it a little bit with the fans. The fans were maybe losing it a little bit with him, and the relationship was maybe growing a little bit apart. But I think then if Ellie Ewan steps into the team on Saturday and starts or is on the bench and comes on, then I don't think there's going to be as many doubters because the connection there, I think it's back. I think we're back with a bang, guys.
Absolutely. That, I mean, we never even mentioned like we went through like probably the greatest week in terms of a league season we've possibly ever had, with the winning the derby. Beating Celtic, going up to Tannadice and winning. Tannadice weren't very good. Went up there, and obviously Bowie coming off the
bench. That's a pivotal game, by the way. I think
huge game.
When we come to the end of the season, that's going to be one of the biggest, one of the most important moments of the season. I think that Bowie goal.
And then and obviously it's a cracking goal. And then Bowie had also played really well against Celtic. Bowie, that was probably the only game he started where he's looked like fucking hell. Like he's an absolute handful for the two best defenders in the league. This is really, really exciting because he's given Vin Vickers a nightmare. And then obviously smart way again, Gray, another amazing decision how he's used Bowie over times. And like obviously not, it must be so easy to want to just chuck him in because you can tell he's obviously ahead of everyone, and he seems to be like purpose built for Scottish football. It's exactly, if you're building a striker, that's all the attributes you would want them to have. But to then go into that and then obviously beats Hearts with the Iredale goal, back-to-back Sunshine Leeds at Easter Road, and just winning 3 massive games on the bounce, including beating Celtic, who felt like unbeatable, really. And I know we got like these things, you get a bit of luck sometimes when it's like we're playing them probably at the best time we could have played them. You would have picked the time, that would have been the game, you would have played them. And then doing the same against Hearts. Then suddenly, as you said, that bond then seems unbreakable from that point. And then suddenly mistakes aren't as big a deal when you're watching the game. Nobody goes fucking crazy when someone makes a mistake, and everyone's got the expectation levels there. And it's just so good just seeing every single player that comes in at different times. Mariah Welsh went through that little period of playing, and he was really, really good. And it doesn't matter who comes in; you're just excited to see them because you almost feel they're definitely going to play well. That's such a strange.
It's so nice talking about Hibs like this, isn't it?
yeah, it is. It's brilliant.
On that note, then, Tony, I'm going to press you for one and one only. Now, it doesn't necessarily need to be the best, but who do you think you've enjoyed watching? Now, it could be Rocky Bashiri for the growth. It could be Triantis, but again, for the flip-flop in form for when he was last with us. Or it could be Martin Boyle getting back to his best. Just across the course of this run, who do you think for yourself you've enjoyed seeing that upward trajectory in form?
That's really hard because Nicky Cadden really
it could just be smithing goals, considering we said about him earlier on.
Nicky
Carol,
Cadden.
Sorry if you're listening.
That's so sweet, the stuff
I love
online.
that, man.
It was so funny though when she said she was at the Dundee game. I was like, he's going to make a mistake, and you're going to realise that there's another side of Hibs fans who will treat you like shit online. So you're going to, but of course that didn't happen. It's so hard because Nicky Cadden is someone that I've really loved through the run because his work rate. He's a player that you think is kind of one note. I think that's what I thought when he was first coming. He's just a crosser, and I was like, that's cool. But maybe we're going to need more. And then it's like, with that left wing back, suddenly I'm seeing like, this cunt's like fucking Beckham. He's working his absolute socks off. He just runs, and like sometimes like it's learning things about players that you had no really idea about. They were just names to you. And like with the way that he defends the back post and he tracks his runner really, really well all the time. And I'm always thinking that is absolutely great. And you can see him G'ing other people up. And then he actually has a bit of acceleration to pull away for people. And he scored, like, when you think, over 20 yards, he looks quite slow. He's a slower version of the Caddens. And but then his crossing's obviously unbelievable, and it's just relentless. When like that Hearts game, he showed it was fucking relentless. And I know it didn't come off, but it's like he was. If it was like a fighting game like Street Fighter, he's the one that made their energy go down to like that, and then you're able to take advantage at that end point. So he's probably been one of my favourites, but I think the rise and the falling in love with Rocky Bashiri has just been a nice thing to watch for everyone, and everyone getting involved, and everyone and seeing a guy who at once I've heard things like he asked at a Hibs event, like he asked someone, and I believe this, he was like, why does everyone hate me? He actually asked that. It's a guy coming from a different culture. He was young. He had all the stuff where he was played when he was suspended. I was signed by mistake. And everyone calling him a cart horse, and he's going to always make an error. And it must have been really hard for a guy coming over and going through all of that and seeing all that turn round, and then everyone whole stadium singing his name when he's running through, when he created the penalty against St Johnstone. And obviously that Ayr United game where he headed it into the winner. I know you guys were at that game as well. It was like brilliant stadium. You obviously love it. It was bouncing. So I think ultimately it has to be the rise of Rocky Bashiri, and so everyone coming together and falling in love with him. It's just a nice redemption.
Even just thinking about Rocky Bashiri makes me want to cry. It really does. I mean, I said to my dad after the Dundee game at a couple of weeks ago there that if there was ever any seed of doubt in Rocky Bashiri's mind about not signing a new contract, if after he scored that goal against Dundee and 4 sides of Easter Road singing, "Oh, Rocky Bashiri," if that doesn't change his mind, nothing will. Because that is excellent. I mean, especially after that's what the Hearts fans were singing when he scored a screamer at Tynecastle. And then the fact that we all got to sing that at the end, and everything that he's done since then, it's always, "Oh, Rocky Bashiri." He must fucking love that. And I tell you what, I would give half a testicle to keep him at the club.
It feels like the other half is pretty worthless.
Well, I've already got 2 veins in it, so
should I just get rid of one full testicle?
I know, but what if? What if?
It's like being a millionaire and going like that. Them going like, right, that's going to cost you £1,001,000. And then going, no, I'm only paying $1 million.
900 grand.
Surely just give them the full ball. If you're going to have to do it, if you're going to give half away, just give the full ball.
All right, Rocky, if you're listening,
I'm already looking forward to Rocky DMing to say, right, okay, that's fine. Get it on the contract, and I'll sign the bit of paper.
He does listen. He does listen. Blood. Apparently, sometimes he listens. Rocky,
with the blood from your half testicle, you can sign the contract.
Rocky, if you are listening up to this point, I'm sorry about the half testicle thing. I'll give you a full one. I will. And if you really want them, I'll give you both.
when he signs the contract, he's got the scarf up, and he does keepy uppies with his one ball.
He's hudding the ball up. It's got 33 engraved on it.
Doing like the wee headers that they do on the back.
It's like one of the like balls that used to get off of McDonald's, like the skill balls, mind? The ones that were tiny, they were filled with like beads or something. Oh man.
That's unreal. That is unreal. One player that we've not mentioned, and we probably most certainly will throughout the rest of the episode, but for me, I can't disagree with what you guys have said. I don't think we change our form if we don't have a player like Nicky Cadden on the side. If we have a goalkeeper as bad as Joseph Bursic, I don't think we make the change in goal either. And we probably just go on to have a very, very mediocre season, and then therefore Rocky Bashiri then doesn't have the season he has because we've not changed the shape either. But for me, the upturn in Martin Boyle's form is nothing short of sensational. I thought I'd seen the best Martin Boyle before he went to Saudi, and then since he came back, he hasn't really hit the heights anywhere near as much as he did before by his standards. But what I'm enjoying the most about it as well is he has that flexibility of, he's quite clearly still the joker in the training centre, and he is still clearly the biggest fanny in the group, but he's carrying the armband and he's carrying it well, and it suits him.
I think it's
as you touched on as well, Tony, having that relationship with David Gray would have been hard to find that balance for the two of them, but I think they've been able to strike a very good balance, and they're bringing the best out of each other.
I think. Sorry, I'll just jump in here. That it's amazing to see that Martin Boyle has struck the perfect balance between having a character and then as soon as he crosses that white line, he's the model professional. I was as surprised as anyone when he took over the armband at the start of the season when Joe Newell wasn't playing and when Warren O'Hora never had it. But I think he's just proved, and he continues to prove week on week, that although he is maybe seen as this sort of class clown joker, it's important to have a character who's also the captain, I think. And you can see that the leadership qualities that he's got and the kind of responsibility that has been pinned on him this season in the absence of Joe Newell, he's really, really thriving on it. And it's really good to see. I'm really, really enjoying this Martin Boyle. I feel like it's such a different Martin Boyle than we've seen in years gone by.
And he's been given more responsibility on the pitch as well, because that free role he's given him, that's part of being a leader. It's the fact that Gray's gone to him. He's created a situation where he gets to decide how he plays.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he wants to drop off and pick up the ball, he can. If he wants to go and play on the shoulder of a defender, he can. If he wants to drift out wide to try and dribble and drive at someone, it can. And that's like part of that. Being a leader is also just about taking responsibility. And it just saying to him, we trust you. You just make it happen. Go out there and you do it the way that you want to do it. And he's been fucking amazing. And that moment where he done like the Klinsman in front of Ibrox, I was so jealous I wasn't there. Because normally, as I said, you just clap when you get that, you just the fist up or whatever when it's a VAR one. But for him to still go and do like he just scored, just brilliant, man. Just brilliant.
Did you hear him on the?
Just on that, I've noticed that quite a lot when there's been 3 or 4 times in this run where we've had a VAR goal. So like, you think of the Josh Campbell's at Tiny. You think, but those are the 2 that spring to mind. You've got the Kira,
Junior Hoylett.
No, it was the Hoylett one. Junior Hoylett at Tannadice. Like, this is going to sound terrible, right? And it's going to make us sound tin pot, but this is the only way I can describe it. Each time those goals have then been given through VAR, we've celebrated them like we've won the fucking league. Like, and that's just a mixture of the importance of the goal at the time, the importance of the players understanding it, and the connection between the fans and the players. And it's just going to show how far, touching on what you both said earlier on, how far this run has taken us, because we are celebrating it like that, which in years gone by with VAR, you probably would just quick fist bump, we're at the halfway line and off we go.
I do think, though, also because of the start that we had to the season, and like we didn't pick up hardly any points, I feel like that every game from here on in
seems massive
that we win is genuinely. I do feel that, though. Like from the start of this run, like it feels like it's been cup final after cup final after cup final, especially when you're getting to 5, 6, 7 games unbeaten, and you think we've got a real good chance here. Like I said on the BBC, of finishing third. So
back in December, remember?
Back at December 27th.
Good.
If you want an actual date, because it was the day after the derby, and I was.
I mean, you wouldn't say any at that point.
I was trying to wind up Ryan McGowan. He wasn't having any of it, man. But yeah, no, that's all I kind of wanted to say, is that I think that the players understand that every goal that goes in, and every point that we snatch or win that we get under our belt from now till the end of the season is going to feel like winning the World Cup. And I know that sounds tin-pot, like you said, but I think that it feels like that. It feels like that to me.
It's quite weird that the team, it's almost like they've went into enjoying the pressure of every game being like a must-win, which is very on Hibs. Like,
I don't know
very
what's going
on
on.
Hibs. It's like the start's almost benefiting the way they're playing now, because it's like they have to keep that. It's like basically because they're going for third, and once that became like something that we could have done, it's almost like when the best teams are going for the league, like in England or in Spain or whatever, when it's like they get used to it, and they just have to keep on churning it out all in different ways.
Man City style.
You can't lose. You can't lose because obviously you need to get to 100 fucking points, and you're gonna, like there's no argument. There's no two ways about it, and it seems like this team's almost preferred having to do it like that, and so it means that complacently, it's just impossible for complacency to creep in, because we basically we had such a bad start that it got to the stage that, all right, you can't lose another game if you want to finish third. So they've done that.
It's mental. I can't believe how long it's been since we lost a league game. I can't comprehend it.
Just two more questions before we have a quick look at the remaining fixtures, and where the fixtures that we're going to win the fucking lot, obviously, because Hibs are fucking class. The last question will be your 3 favourite goals during the run, during league run. I'll give you a minute to think about that. So in the meantime, I want to get your favourite game, because in this season, the rarest of all rarities, we've won at Tynecastle, we've won at Pittodrie, we've won at Tannadice, we've won at Ibrox, we've beaten Celtic, and we've beaten Hearts at home. So, Tony, what has been your favourite game? And it might be one that is just as obvious as Tynecastle or beating Hearts at Easter Road, but if there is any other, for any other reason in particular, I'm obviously happy with it just being a derby win, of course.
Yeah. It's difficult to not just say Tynecastle. It was also just because it was like on the back of that Pittodrie game as well. And again, similar like when I was talking about that perfect week we had, it's also like, fucking hell, this team's now going to Pittodrie, Tynecastle back to back.
Because I think then if you looked at that bit, it was Pittodrie we won, Tynecastle we won, and then I think the game after that we got a draw at home against Rangers, if I remember rightly.
And then suddenly, because obviously when Bashiri scored that header.
It was Kelly at home. It was Ross County at home, Aberdeen away, Hearts away, Kelly at home, St Johnstone away, which we drew, and then it was the Rangers draw.
Oh, right. So, nearly that then.
I really would love to bring you something more profound than beating Hearts at Tynecastle, but because I miss Pittodrie, and I remember saying, I think I came on here, and saying like I was talking about like I loved that for the people that went up, because we were doing quite shit at the time. And the reward they got for Yuan with the corner flag, which is like such an iconic thing to see. It was so funny. It was like a reward for the people who put it in, even though like it didn't seem like it would be possible. You know what I mean? So, and going miles up to do it, I like stuff like that. It's like you get your
one of the
reward.
perks of Hibs first.
Yeah, basically, pay your 50 quid. That's what you get. But that Dwight Gale goal, man, it was just like. You didn't appreciate it at the time because you were miles away at Tynecastle, and it isn't until you're back in the pub watching it back that suddenly you realise, fucking, that's an absolutely high quality goal. Not the finish, but the cross, the way that we manoeuvre it from the other side, the keeping it in, and so you're like, actually, are we good? Fucking hell, this is amazing. And obviously seeing like a cool, and like a cool older striker. It's like that's the kind of goal you want from a cool older striker. You want a deft touch.
It was a good celebration and all.
The experience. Yeah. So I mean, I would love it to be something different. But a Boxing Day win at Tynecastle during the festive period. I mean, and when you're actually starting to think maybe we're going to be quite good, it's hard to beat, man.
I'm going to have to agree.
It's boring, I know.
It's boring, but how often do we beat them at Tynecastle? You know, obviously it's very well documented.
That was the first time in 6 years.
It's the most one-sided derby in the world. Just look at your derby record, ha ha ha. But I mean, I don't care who you support, what team you are. There's nothing better than beating your rivals at their place. And Hearts fans will tell you the exact same. That there's nothing better than beating Hibs at Easter Road. So I think for that, just the redemption of Rocky Bushiri in that game as well. He was excellent. You know, in the closing minutes in that game, everything about that game was perfect. It was perfect. Josh Campbell obviously scoring, half scoring in the first half. I was buzzing with that. The only thing I didn't like about this game was that we shot towards the away fans in the first half. Didn't like that. But don't really care.
If that's what it takes to win.
That's what it takes to win. And then I think if I had to pick another one, I think I would go the 4-0 win at home to Dundee because we were just kind
Aye,
of
we're-
underlining. If I don't even feel like I feel like I'm crazy saying that if there was doubts about how good we actually were, in terms of being able to blow teams away, because I think there was a couple of
putting someone to the sword properly. Yeah,
and
yeah.
to actually see that against a Dundee team who were actually turning a little bit of a corner in form. I know that they'd had a little bit of a drab period before that, but then they beat Dundee United, they beat St Mirren, they got a really good performance against Rangers at home to go in and absolutely demolish them, and they never had a shot on target. I thought it was excellent.
I think that's a really good. I think that was in terms of like the doubting part that you're bringing in there. I've noticed a difference in how outsiders are talking about Hibs since that game. Like obviously the talking up of Lewis Miller since that game from outsiders as well, and just I think it did. I think underlining it's a really good way of putting that because I think people are suddenly able to witness the strength and depth of the squad, and I heard a lot of people talking about that the last couple of weeks. On different sort of platforms and different fans and obviously like and pundits or whatever. So I think you're right. It was sort of like geez, right, this team, this is actually a really fucking good team and a really good squad, and every single member of it contributes, and it means that they can rotate in and out and whenever they feel like it, essentially. And they're going to absolutely. And now we might back to. So I mean, it seems so weird to go 17 games unbeaten and feeling like you're only peaking now. The team looking at its best. What a pleasure! Thank you.
What would your top three favourite goals be in this run, Tony? And then Liam, I'll come to you for the same thing.
Nicky Cadden at Pataudry, Dwight Gale at Tynecastle, and Jack Iredale at Easter Road.
Yeah,
Liam?
I think it's difficult to not pick Iredale and Dwight Gale. I also really, I mean, for aesthetic reasons, Nectar Triantis against Motherwell, lovely goal. Another one that I liked was Kieran Bowie's header against Dundee because I love a deep cross and a header goal. Shaun, you know this. Goals from headers are one of my favourite things, if not my favourite thing in the whole world. But yeah, I think Jack Iredale's got to be up there. Dwight Gale's got to be up there. If I had to pick one more, I'm going to say Josh Campbell's first goal against Celtic.
I was waiting on a Josh Campbell goal from you. I would have Gale, Dwight Gale, and Jack Iredale in there. I would actually have Iredale's third, Dwight Gale's first, and in between that, I would have Kieran Bowie's at Dundee United away sandwiched in there.
I feel for
there's something
importance
extra special
that Kieran Bowie goal is probably the most important of our season
Don't get me wrong. Like Iredale's goal will be goal of the season. It'll be one of my favourite goals a Hibs player has ever scored against Hearts. A winner, volley, outside the box, defender. It has all the ingredients to be one of the best goals against Hearts. But there's something for me extra special that comes in a late goal, or in Kieran Bowie's example, a 90th minute winner away from home.
At night time, under floodlights.
In an important game.
Under the lights, 90th minute limbs are good. So that would be.
The pictures from that are brilliant. The facial expressions and the grabbing. I actually saw mine on one of Hibs things. Rarely see, but like people are going absolutely off the fucking rocker.
I was going to say that game feels like it was quite recent, but it was about 7 or 8 games ago now, and we're still unbeaten. And for me, that was the game. Even though we were beaten Celtic, we'd beaten the Celtic the game before. And this is going to sound quite stupid to say, but Hibs have the capability of beating Celtic at home, right? And I'm not saying we don't have the capability of beating Dundee United away, because we obviously do. But from time to time in the past, Hibs go on this weird. From time to time, we just happen to beat Celtic at home. It just happens. I don't know how. I can't explain it. And sometimes I see that as kind of like a freak incident, although we were still on that run. But then the togetherness, obviously, with the sunshine on Leaf at the end of the Celtic game, and then moving into, again, Tony, you touched on it, a very important week, going away to Tannadice under the lights. The togetherness was just, for me, that was the game that done it for me. That was like, right, okay, this is special. What we're doing is good. This is a very, very good group.
I have faith in these guys. Yeah.
And I was like, I like, because normally when we go on these wee runs or we get these big results, I don't want to get ahead of myself, and I'm like, oh, we're class. Hibs are back. We're pushing for third. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. And then it's flat on its face. Exactly what you do. And we were obviously playing Hearts the following weekend, but after seeing that performance at Tannadice, considering how poor we were, I was like, do you know what? This lot are the real deal.
Special. The best thing about that day when we played Celtic and had Sunshine and Leaf was Nicky Cadden being the conductor of the East Stand miles away from every other player. That was fucking hilarious, man. Like, all the pictures is all the players and then Nicky Cadden doing an Ashley Cole, and he's like 5, 6, 10 feet away from everyone else, just going like that to the East Stand, trying to get everyone to sing along, man. What a guy, seriously.
See, on this run, Tony, obviously, we're at 17 now? Do you think the post-split fixtures, as we move on to kind of talk about that before our game at the end, do you think those fixtures have probably worked out the best way possible for us?
I think they've worked out well for us. I would have preferred Aberdeen and Dundee United to play each other earlier. But the fact that we play Aberdeen and Dundee United the first 3 games, is it? Is it Aberdeen first and Dundee United third?
First 2. Aye.
Yeah.
No, we play
first,
Aberdeen away, then Dundee United at home. That's the first 2.
Because it feels like when we've got this momentum, before we have to go to Parkhead where it might kill the run, maybe. Like I mentioned earlier, that kind of what happens sometimes. It means that, I mean, if we were to just win these 2 games back to back, Celtic will beat Dundee United on Saturday. I've no doubt about that, considering it's for the league. You know, that they will win. Then that's already, like, it's 6 points. You can put a dagger in them before they even get a chance to breathe again.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's all done. You feel like you're done. Then you've got Dundee United, Easter Road, packed expectation. And with this team, you trust them to deliver in that. And Dundee United, it'll be out their comfort zone coming to Easter Road, because they're not going to be able to play the way that they want to play, in terms of they're quite a negative team. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, for a team to come up and do what they've done, they probably are going to have to be relatively negative. You know, they're going to have to play on certain strengths. They're going to play kind of backs to the wall at times. They go long. They've got a massive striker. And I'm not talking down to it at all, at all. But they're going to be forced to come out because they have to win. There'll be if they're 6 point out, it's a must-win game. So if we can get that win against Aberdeen, I really do think we can put it home, and then it's all done. And playing Rangers last game of the season, when half their team will be on holiday, half of them will know that they're not staying, and Barry Ferguson's probably not going to be there next season. That leaves the possibility for laughs.
I think there's a possibility for a David Gray aeroplane.
He's far too...
David Gray airplane.
Far too...
Liam, how do you see the post-split fixtures unfolding? Because you obviously spoke last week about 2 wins, and even earlier on this episode, 2 wins, and that could be it. Is there a way where, what Tony's alluded to, where we could get to the last game of the season against Rangers and still need a result?
I don't think so.
Because at the moment we're 3 points ahead.
I don't think so. I think that this team gets at least 4 points from the first 2 games. And I think even 4 points will do it, to be honest with you. A draw at Pittodrie isn't going to be the worst result in the world. Keeps us at an arm's length from them. They need essentially 2 wins because of our superior goal difference to overtake us. And I'll probably get caned for this, but I really don't see us losing there. I would, if you offered me a point right now at Pittodrie, I'd take a point. But I think we will beat them, and I think we'll also beat Dundee United. And like Tony says, I think it'll be done after the first 2 games. Celtic away, free hit. St Mirren away, a real good chance for us to beat a bogey team that we've struggled
The
against.
only team we've not beat. Beat this season, is that right?
Struggled against them this season, home and away. So if we can go there and get a result, because obviously you forget that Aberdeen and Dundee United have got to play Celtic and Rangers as well. Aberdeen, unfortunately for them, play Celtic and Rangers back to back, and then Dundee United on the last day of the season. So I think that's going to be too much pressure for both United and Aberdeen. I think we've got the best. It's laid the best for us in terms of when and where the fixtures are, to be honest with you. And I think it will all be decided mathematically on game week 37. We've got St Mirren away, Aberdeen are at home to Celtic, and United are away to Rangers. And I think that's when it will be decided mathematically that we'll finish third.
Do you think there's any possibility where St Mirren could potentially drag themselves into fifth and hoping for a spot because they're 9 points behind?
I think the highest that St Mirren will be able to get is fifth, and I don't think they'll get that. St Mirren are in the top six, like Hearts would have been for a jolly.
And they had their big moment, and they enjoyed that there, and it was quite good for them because they scored a late goal to make it happen, and with nobody falling, nobody creeping over the line, so they got a moment to go with that, and that felt like sort of like kind of season over. But don't get me wrong, Robinson and St Mirren will enjoy playing party poopers. That'll suit Robinson down to the ground actually. So while I don't think they'll be able to pick up 9 points and everyone else lose. They'll still get a few. They'll still definitely get a few results within there. The only real issue for everyone, and this happens every season, it's dead rubbers for Celtic and Rangers after the first one. So the rules stop applying that you're normally used to. So that could be. So that suddenly means that anyone could just pick up a random win against Celtic that wouldn't normally, for example.
Yeah, I mean it's the free hittiest of free hits, isn't it? But I still think that, Aberdeen with Rangers and Celtic back to back, Dundee United aren't going to beat Celtic at home when Celtic are gunning for the title. And I think after they've got beat against Celtic at home, we beat them at Easter Road. They'll maybe scrape a point against St Mirren. They're not going to go to Ibrox with any real confidence. They'll get beat there, and I don't really care what happens in the final day against Aberdeen, to be honest. I really don't. As long as we beat Rangers that day, no bothered. I don't think the run's going to finish, by the way, for Hibs until the start of next season. I'll put it out there.
So you think it'll be 22 games unbeaten?
I don't think we'll get beat from now till the end of the season. I really don't.
Wow.
Not at Parkhead.
Tony? That's insane, Liam. That's insane. Tony, before we move on to our end of episode quiz, I was going to ask you for a prediction for Saturday, but I now kind of want to know where or if you think the run will ever end. based on Liam's optimism there.
Yeah, we'll be playing fucking AC Milan in the Europa League playoff, and we'll get a draw at the San Siro or something.
We'll sneak something.
By the way, AC Milan have been pretty poor this season. I've seen that.
I take them fucking jobbers, man.
Fuck it! Why not? We'll go 22 games and we'll not get beat.
I genuinely don't think. I don't think it's that controversial. I really don't. Aberdeen away, we've won there. United at home, they're shite. Celtic away, we've beat them. St Mirren away, the only time I think we'll struggle. Rangers at home, absolute dossers. We'll be fine.
Mental that you've just went through our remaining fixtures and St Mirren is the one that you've thought, by the way, we might struggle there.
I think if we drop any points, and I'm talking get a draw in the final 5 games, it'll be away at St Mirren. We'll win the rest.
I'll tell you right now, we will lose one game post-split and it will not be to Celtic.
It'll be at Pittodrie.
And that'll be the Arsenal's going.
Yeah.
That would be such a Hibs way to do it, but I don't think that's the old Hibs. This is new Hibs.
Well, clearly you think it's going to be a 3-0 pump into the Hibs on Saturday. So, yeah. What's your prediction, Tony?
2-0 Hibs. And I do actually think we'll win. I just really was unimpressed with Aberdeen again against Hearts
pish.
in really good circumstances for them.
They were stinking.
Aye, so that made me feel much better because that was it. The funny thing is, and for this, is that all three of the teams going for third are all coming in good form. I think Aberdeen have only lost 1 in 11. I think Dundee United have won their last 3 after they had a wobble, which is fair play to them because I thought when they had that wobble, they were just going to disappear. I'm being honest. So fair play to them to bring that back. I think they lost like 5 on the bounce or something like that because the fixtures landed shit for them. So fair play to them. But yeah, I think we'll win 2-0 on Saturday.
Jamie McGrath, masterclass, 2 own goals. Right, our last segment tonight, gentle ladies.
It's coming.
It's
coming.
Teammates.
Ready?
Teammates, right? So,
attention all ramblers. Don't go anywhere because it's Ramble Quiz time.
I love to see Shaun squirm when I play that.
Just dead behind his eyes. Just go, sends him to his happy place so he doesn't hear it.
He always goes to me, he's always like, can you not just fucking add that in afterwards instead of us having it wasn't there every week? But no, that's the point. I love to see you squirm.
Right, okay, so tonight, gentlemen, we are doing a game of teammates. This is what I'm calling it. Others have probably called it others. In front of me, I have 5 players. Now, we'll go through player at a time. Now, I will name players that this individual has played with. The player may have played with them on international duty, may have played with them at other clubs, or they might have played with them all at Hibs. Okay? I have 6 players to give you as a clue. So hopefully by the end, by the 6th player, you're able to name it.
I love this, by the way. I love that.
So for example, right, and this is just an example, this is not one of the ones I have in front of me. If the player I wanted you to try and name was Lewis Stevenson, right, the first player I would say is this player played with Paul Hanlon, because he played with him the most, right? Then I would say this player played with Scott Brown.
Is it going?
So
is it going from who? So from 1 to 6, they played with him.
It's not. It's just going in any particular order, and it's meant to get easier as it goes on. Right. So, for example, if it was Lewis Stevenson and I went, right, this player played with Paul Hanlon, you would both, if you think you know who it is, you say your name and you give me a guess. If you're unsure, we move on to the next one. If you get it after the hardest player, you get 5 points. Then you get 4. Then you get 3, 2, 1. If it gets down to the 6th player, you get 0 points and we move on. Right?
This is a sort of intellect and real quality that we've missed on this podcast the last couple of months.
If Lewis Stevenson was the example, it would be Paul Hanlon. Then it would maybe be like, I don't know, Scott Brown. Then it would be Joe Newell, Martin Boyle.
Maybe pick one of those random players he played with in that Scotland game when he played in fucking South America.
Jason Cummins, Chris Cadden.
So you get the concept. So it's also not going to be in chronological order of the clubs that they played in or the players that they played with. It's based on the ones I think might be the hardest to try and work out. And then by the time you get down to the bottom, you should be able to work out based on either the clubs that these players have played for or just the players in general that I've played, right? Okay, so first player. Bear in mind, I'm not going to tell you the player that you're trying to guess. So for 5 points, which I'm really trying to make sure I don't make that mistake. So for 5 points, the player in question played with Simon Murray. And no, I'm not going to tell you the season either that they played with him.
So this could be someone who's played with Simon Murray at Dundee United or Dundee or
will it always be a Hibs player?
So the 5 players are players that have played for Hibs.
But they might have played with these players at a different club.
Correct. So this player might have played
right,
with
okay.
Simon
Right, okay.
Murray at Hibs, but he might have also played with him at another club, or he might have never played with him at Hibs, but he played with him at another
Right,
club.
I'll have a
Okay,
guess.
So the first... Okay.
Brandon Barker.
Okay, incorrect. Tony, would you like to guess, or do you want to just move on to the next player?
We'll just move on to the next one.
Okay. So, for 4 points, another player this player played with was Mark Milligan.
Oh,
So this is where you would try and work out the links between, if there is a link, based on
Marciano.
when you were up. Tony, any guesses from you, or do you want to move on?
Just 2 seconds. I know it's not great having dead air when when you're
It's all right.
recording a podcast.
Well,
Who was?
it's not Marciano. I can confirm that.
Okay.
So Liam's not got the points.
Horgan.
No, it is not Daryl Horgan. Good effort though. Another player that this player played with was Melker Hallberg. So
Fuck's sake,
the
man.
player, the Hibs player in question, has played with Simon Murray, Mark Milligan, and Melker Hallberg.
I don't think it's going to be he played with Simon Murray at Hibs, Tony.
Is it Kevin Nisbet?
It is not Kevin Nisbet. Good guess though. This, in fairness, this one is relatively hard to get you off, but it was to show you the understanding of.
Scott Allen.
It is not Scott Allen. Right. So for the next player, bear in mind the players that I've said and think of when these players may or may not have played for Hibs, right? The next player in question that this player has also played with is Callum Booth. So this Hibs
Fucking
player
hell.
has played with Simon Murray, Mark Milligan,
Glenn Middleton?
Malcolm Hallberg, and Callum Booth.
What a shout
No,
that is,
it
by
is
the
not
way.
Glenn Middleton.
That's a shout as well, by the way, because Glenn Middleton played with
St.
Hallberg at
Johnstone,
St
eh?
Johnstone.
Aye, exactly. Aye. I'm annoyed. I thought I'd got it there. I'll be honest.
I'll give you an extra clue for this one, right?
That's a-
And Tony, I'll let you guess again. All the players that I've mentioned so far, this player has played with while at Hibs.
Okay.
So this player played with Simon Murray at Hibs, Mark Milligan, Hallberg, and Callum Booth all during his.
I feel
Hibs
like
career.
it's one of two, Tony.
Go for
You
it.
say one and I'll say the other.
Go for it.
Is it Paul Hanlon?
I'm waiting on Tony's guess.
I'm just going to. Is it Lewis Stevenson? But it can't be because he fucking
it-
said him earlier.
It's actually neither. It's neither.
Aye.
Oh, fucking hell. Who is it then?
So we'll move on to the next. We'll move on to the next player. So you've got Simon Murray, Mark Milligan, Melker Hallberg, Callum Booth, and Jordan Obita.
What? Who's been here that
That's always
long?
annoying. And he's played with all of them at Hibs.
Correct. Fact checked it to make sure.
Ryan Porteous?
Nah, Poach's never played with Obita, did
No.
he? Is he still at the club?
He is, yes.
Who the fuck is it going to be?
Who's our longest?
Right, we'll move-
Basically,
we'll move on to-
who's your longest
we'll
serving player? Which
We'll
that makes
move,
it.
on to, we'll move on to the last player, right? But this time I'll give you the years that they played with the player. Okay? So then hopefully that can kind of work it out. So this should now make it relatively obvious, if it hasn't already. So he played with Simon Murray in the 17-18 season.
Oh, it's Martin
at
Boyle.
Hibs. There you go.
Thank you.
Is it Boyle?
Fucking hell.
Did he play with
Well,
Callum
just-
Booth?
Yeah, played with Callum Booth in 2015. I checked.
Fucking hell, Callum Booth, man. I thought
So
we were
my-
rid of him
my-
after like 2012, man.
Nah, so there you go. He was still there 2015.
I
So he's
fucking
got the
Martin Boyle,
context.
and I think I'm dropping Beezers by going Glenn Middleton as well.
Mate,
Fucking hell.
I'm not being funny. Glenn Middleton was a massive shout after the
Right,
first few players.
Do you know what makes it better, Tony? I thought about including Glenn Middleton as not only a player, but as in one to guess for as well. Right, so you get the concept, okay? Now, I'm just checking the rest of them. all the other 4 players include times that they've played with players at other clubs. So the Martin Boyle one was only players that he played with at Hibs, right? So the other 4 guesses will be, or the other 4 players will include time spent either with a national team or another club. Okay, by the way, the last player was going to be Jordan Smith. Not that it makes
I
any
don't think I
difference.
still would have got it.
Right.
I don't think I would have got it.
So the next player, you will 100% get this one. I don't know where, but you will 100% get this one, right? So this player, and I'll give you. No, I can't give you the year. I'll give it away. This player played with Martin Boyle. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So just keep that in mind. We'll move on to the next one. This player also played with Dylan McGeoch. Okay. So this player has played with Martin Boyle and Dylan McGeoch.
Jason Cummins.
Incorrect. Tony?
So I'm thinking about maybe a Celtic or an Aberdeen player playing with Dylan McGeoch, or there's something very sneaky here, and you've got some cunt that's played down at Carlisle with Dylan McGeoch last season, which is kind of where my brain's going.
When
on earth have we ever had a Hibs player that's played for Carlisle? So bear in mind these are all Hibs players.
No, but Dylan McGeoch played for
Harry
Carlisle.
McCurdy also played for Carlisle.
So I mean, that's... Right, continue.
This player also played with Ellie Yuan.
Christian Deutsch.
So Martin Boyle, Dylan McGeoch, and Ellie Yuan.
Deutsch?
And it's not Christian Deutsch.
Did he not play with McGeoch at Forest Green?
Don't know, but the answer is not the answer is not Christian Deutsch.
Glenn Middleton.
Okay.
I'm up for continuing.
Yeah.
Like.
So we've got Martin Boyle, Dylan McGeoch, Ellie Yuan, Matty Kennedy.
Fraser Fivey?
Fraser Murray.
No and no. Okay. This is where I think it'll be a dead giveaway. Or I'm hoping so. Martin Boyle, Dylan McGeoch, Ellie Yuan, Matty Kennedy, Joe Aribo.
Joe Aribo.
Oh, Effie Ambrose?
I can see... Nope. I can see the clogs turning though, Liam. I can see them turning.
Can I have the players again?
Martin Boyle. Bear in mind these are not all played with at Hibs, right? Martin Boyle, Dylan McGeoch, which I'll give Tony his props. He remembered that Dylan played for Celtic and Aberdeen. Ellie Yuan, Matty Kennedy, Joe Aribo.
See, my initial thought there was Jamie Murphy, but I don't think he played with Ellie Yuan, did he?
Don't think he did, but it's not him anyway.
I'm struggling here. Is there another player to come?
Maybe I'm giving There's one more player to come. I'm giving myself and you too much credit. I thought you would have got this one.
I'm shy at quizzes, so I'll be brutally honest. I embarrass myself fairly regularly.
Tony, you say that every time you're on here. I feel terrible for you. I'm going to have to make an easy one for you. What year were Hibernian Football Club founded?
That's what he usually does for me, Tony. He usually makes it easy ones for me.
I'm absolutely. You give me far too much credit.
He strokes my ego with the quizzes, like, usually.
So, what other teams did Matty
Matty
Kennedy played for?
For the benefit of the listeners, I'll tell you the clubs, right?
Mm-hmm.
See if this can push you over the line. Played with Martin Boyle at Hibs. Played with Dylan McGeoch at Aberdeen. Played with Ellie Yuan at St Gallen.
Canberra,
Canberra,
aye.
Yep.
Brilliant, aye.
Yep.
Did he play
One
with
people
Yuan at
skated
St Gallen? That's incredible.
They both got subbed on in a match in 2020 together for St Gallen.
Small
How
world.
insane is that?
Small world.
Yeah. Joe Aribo, obviously at Rangers, Matty Kennedy at Aberdeen, and the last one was Callum Patterson, which was Sheffield.
Fucking hell, I wouldn't have got that.
Canberra's played for every cunt in their dog, so
Mental. Absolutely mental.
Is he clubless still,
Right.
Canberra?
Nah, playing for some dirty team in a Swiss league, I think.
Oh, Swiss teams, man. Fuck me.
Right, okay. So, two of the next three are players in our current squad. So there's a clue I'll give you moving forward, right? So
Okay.
two of the next three are players in our current squad. The next player has played with Harry Clark, as in former right back, who was on loan, who was at Ipswich Town, right? Said player has also played with Joe Bursick.
Look, poor guy.
Mm-hmm.
Said individual has also played with Joe Newell. So we have Harry Clark, Joe Bursick, and Joe Newell.
Mm-hmm.
Happy to continue?
Is it Dwight Gale?
It is Dwight Gale.
Yes.
And
Fair
It is
play,
Dwight
mate.
Gale.
Joe Newell at Hibs and also Peterborough.
Yep.
Harry Clark at Stoke. Bursick at Hibs.
Yep.
Fuck.
And
You're adding a
Bursick
bit too
at-
much cream for me here, like.
Bursick at Stoke as well.
Yeah.
Bursick was at Stoke at the same time.
Bursick also
And
played
then
for
after that,
Peterborough.
it was- not at the same time, but
Not at the same time, but he did
um,
also play for Peterborough.
the next one was going to be Barry Bannon, because Barry Bannon was at Crystal Palace. The one after that was going to be Mikel Moreno from Newcastle. And then the last one was going to be James Morrison, because James Morrison only ever played for two clubs, West Brom and Middlesbrough.
And then you maybe
So
could have
that
put
would have
you,
been
you
the
maybe could have put managed by Steve Bruce at the end.
I was tempted to include managers just for the sake of that. Get it right up them.
I'm
Right.
I'm quite surprised I got that so quickly.
Impressed with that one.
Good.
Okay, so this one again, I'll be disappointed if you don't get. I've made this one relatively easier than the ones that have came so far. So I actually made this before his contract was announced. It's I've just gave the answer away.
It's Lewis Miller.
Lewis Miller. Right, cool.
Lewis
Cheers.
Miller. So
That's an hour and 45 minutes into a podcast right there, like.
I'm raging now.
It was the only thing you didn't want to do. You said it at the start.
Yeah, and I just done it. I know. It was going to be Ryan Porteous, Nectar Triantis, Jason Cummins, Bazanic, Kai Rolls, and Josh Nisbet.
I think we
So,
probably would have got
it was
that
made
pretty
much
early
easier.
on.
Made it much easier by telling you that he signed a new deal.
I don't understand why you had to include that as information.
I honestly, I didn't. I don't know why I did. But here we are. We're now on to the last one. Right, okay. This player has played with John Rankin. This player has also played with Lee Griffiths.
Scott Martin.
No.
You went
This
to the
player
Aki's angle,
has
yeah.
also played with Glenn Kamara.
Who's the
This
first one?
player
Sorry,
has
John
also
Rankin.
played- John Rankin, yeah. John Rankin, Lee Griffiths, Glenn Kamara, Jack Hendry.
Someone for Dundee, I think.
Someone played in South.
Simon Murray.
With Jack.
No. Simon Murray did not play with Lee Griffiths or
Oh, he didn't play
John
with Lee Griffiths
Rankin.
today. Did he not play with Dundee
Or
when
probably
Griffiths was at Dundee?
I don't know because the answer isn't him, so I wouldn't know.
I know he played with John Rankin.
He's not created this quiz and also worked out every other permutation for every other player.
I'm not that good, Leon.
He's got a big massive list. Hit any of these.
John Rankin, Lee Griffiths, Glenn Kamara, Jack Hendry, John and Paul McGinn. And I was going to say Stephen McGinn as well, but I wasn't able to fact check that they were on the pitch at the same time for the same club. So he could have potentially played with all three McGinn brothers.
Did he play with Rankin at Hibs?
I'll give you that one, Tony. No, he did not.
Okay.
Yeah, because it would have had to have been someone yonks ago, right enough, eh?
Aye, that's kind of why I was sort of
So
checking.
where's Rankin been? Let's process elimination. Hamilton, Dundee
He's played
United.
for Falkirk. I'm pretty sure he played.
What, recently?
No, not recently. Well, more recently they played for Hibs, and he was playing it like he mucked about at like teams like Queen of the South and Clyde towards the end.
I don't think it'll be. I don't think Shaun's thought about that. I don't think it's that deep. Sorry, Shaun.
So then you'd be going back to Inverness Carry.
I think it's maybe someone for Dundee United because there's a couple of other Dundee players in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe someone who's bounced about there and also has played for Hibs. Oh, fuck it. Have you told us all the players?
So, no, there's one more, but the one more is meant to be the one that gives it away. So yeah, John, I don't know if Tony's on his John Rankin's Wikipedia there, but it's John Rankin in 2011 that he played with him. So that's what, Dundee United. So yeah, I can give you that one. Then you've got Lee Griffiths. Then you've got Glenn Kamara. Then you've got Jack Hendry. And then you've got potentially all three of the Megan brothers. Do you want the last player?
I feel like you should get this.
Nah, I don't want the last player. Not yet. Was Hendry, Kamara and Griffiths at the same time at Dundee?
Kamara and Hendry were Dundee.
Right.
What about Ryan Gold?
Oh, no, I ken who it is.
No, it's not.
I ken who it is, Tony. I said him earlier on. Scott Allen.
Say it. Well played.
It is Scott Allen.
Who was the last
The
player?
last player would have been Callum McGregor.
I wouldn't have made it any easier for me, I don't think.
Well, it depends where you thought he played with Lee Griffiths, because you initially thought it was Dundee. And if I wasn't giving you clues, you probably would have thought it was Dundee.
Well, if it was going to be Hibs, then I'd have struggled to see who he then played with Glenn Kamara with. You know what I mean?
Well, I'll quite clearly need to make my options much easier for you next time, Liam.
I thought I was all right at that. I grew into that game. I thought the Lewis Miller one I got was exceptional.
Yeah.
I think you've done very well to get the Lewis Miller one. I don't know how you've managed that. I thought that was the hardest one in a lot.
I mean, the first clue that he's just signed a new deal was exquisite. I was struggling. I was scratching my head for a wee second, and then I got it. That was an excellent quiz, Shaun. I really enjoyed that.
It's like doing the Wikipedia career ones. Eh?
I really did enjoy that.
It's good.
I really did.
Aye, good. Well
I think
played,
that's
Shaun.
going to just about wrap us up, lads. Shaun, how have you
That's been a
enjoyed your
long one.
first appearance
No Hibs
back
game,
on
but
the
an hour and
Ramble?
50 minutes.
I know, that's because Liam spent about 45 minutes talking about food and bevy.
And you wouldn't want me any other way, Shaun. Like, come on. Let's be honest here. It's got to that late in the night that I'm absolutely not editing the pod tonight either. I'm just going to leave it and do it tomorrow.
yeah.
But Tony,
I'll go
thank
work
you so
tomorrow.
much for joining us as well.
Mate, it was my pleasure. I had a really good
Thank
time
you
there.
so much for
you.
joining us as well, Tony. It's been an eventful one. Really enjoyed having you both back on the podcast, especially you, Shaun, being away for so long. If you've got this far, thank you very much for listening. We really appreciate it. If you want to get involved at any point with questions or suggestions or anything, you can get us on social media. If we're on a social media, our tag will be at the Hibs Ramble. You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, etc., etc. Get us on your Apple Podcast, Spotify Podcast, YouTube, and anybody else that's half decent. Go down the local library and fire us up on the Spotify on that if you want, or don't. I don't really care. But all that's left for me to say is, again, a big thank you for listening. I thank you again to Shaun and Tony for joining me, and we'll catch you after the Aberdeen game. See you later.
Let's get ready to rumble.